Oh, hi, good morning. This is Caron Davis at Columbia Realty International, and I'm very excited. We have Peach back from Colliers, who specializes in leases for landlords and tenants. And we haven't really talked about what's going on with the office space in Honolulu lately. So he's here to give us an update. So won't waste any more time because I'm very interested to see what is going on, Alex.
All right, thanks, Gron. Appreciate you having me back. Um, yeah, pretty interesting time in the office market. This last quarter, we did see vacancy rate tick back up a little bit after it had been going down, um, but still doing pretty good here locally compared to a lot of the mainland metros. I think most people, when they find out what I do as an office broker, they're like, "Oh, it's got to be rough, huh?" It's challenging, but nothing like the mainland. I'm going to share one of our graphs here from our latest office market report. Um, and this is Q1's numbers, but you can see that here locally, we were at 12.77% vacant. We went up to 13.2, but the US average is 18% vacant. So
Oh,
we are
wow.
outperforming that. A lot of that is being helped by some of these office conversions, such as 1132 Bishop downtown that was converted to residential rentals. Davies Pacific Center that was going to be converted to fee simple residential condos. It's now potentially going to a hotel. And there's even talk Avalon bought Topa Financial Center, and they're talking about converting some of the lower floors of that to a hotel, as well as some smaller buildings like 1833 Kalakaua, the former PBN building at the beginning of Waikiki that the Panda Express owners are actually converting to a extended stay hotel, and they're just starting work on that now. So a lot of that is helping buoy the rest of the office market as we're taking supply offline. But we're also just seeing, I mean, anecdotally, I've stopped seeing so many people giving up space. Some downsizes, but I'm even seeing some expansions, some new entrants to the market on like the defense tech side, things like that. So still a pretty interesting time right now, and really interesting to watch what Christine Camp and Avalon are doing downtown. And if she can pull off the like full conversion to a hotel of Davies and some of that Topa, it's really going to flip things around.
So the condo project that Avalon was doing, they're not doing that anymore then? That
No, they scrapped the plans on that. I don't know all the details. I
Yeah.
don't think the sales were super strong, and I think they're having some issues with the like operable windows. So they've changed
Oh,
now to hotel, though I
okay.
haven't heard anything about like a flag of the hotel or where that stands, but that's the latest I've heard is they're going to a hotel. And I mean, at this point, they've cleared out most of the office tenants aside. There are still some there, but they've let so many go that it would be pretty tough to take that back and say, okay, let's actually just lease this as an office building.
What was the name of that project again, Alex? I did visit it, but I actually forget the name of it
So it
now.
was Davies Pacific Center. They rebranded it for the residential project
Yeah,
Modea. Um,
that's right, Medea.
that's yeah,
Yes.
that's gone away now.
Yeah. No, I remember going to a pre-listing on that. It looked like it was going to be very nice, but it's
Yeah.
interesting. So the windows just weren't operable, you're saying that in
Yeah,
the
so without the operable windows, and I mean,
yeah.
Douglas Emmett, who's a large office and multifamily owner, and they own four buildings downtown, and one of them, 1132 Bishop, they converted to residential rentals, and they did it
Yeah.
with operable windows. So I don't know the exact details of what all the issues were that Avalon ran into. Um,
Yeah.
I thought they'd maybe gotten past it, but I've heard that was one of the hurdles that was causing some problems. And I don't know if it was just hurting sales because it is a little different to rent an apartment where you don't have operable windows versus purchase it. So that
Certainly.
might have been part of it.
No, certainly. So talk to me about, the submarkets on Oahu, like downtown, Kahala, East Oahu, maybe Leeward area, what's going on with all the office space?
Yeah, so and this next graph is not related to that, but this is just to tie back to like our projected office inventory kind of trending down
Oh,
as
okay.
some of these conversions are. I forgot to click to this, but Some of the submarkets, I mean, a lot of them are strong. Downtown, we're still hovering around 12 to 13% vacant. It's kind of tracking the rest of the market, or the island-wide market. East Oahu, Kaimuki, Kahala, Hawaii Kai still remains very strong. I think we are at about 8% vacant there
Oh,
now.
wow,
Um,
8%. Wow.
and even that is kind of inflated. You have 3650 YLI, where Goodwill was and is now back, where Piero Midiar's group like scraped that building, built a new one, and they have 20,000 square feet. Well, I actually handle the leasing there, so I should say we have 20,000 square feet there. But that's like brand new construction. It's going to take the right tenant. So while it is vacant, it's probably not and adding to the supply and pushing that vacancy rate up. It's probably not a really good comp. Like that's going to take the right person to fill it. And if that wasn't there, that vacancy rate would be even lower, because Kaimuki, Kahala are really tight markets to find stuff. Hawaii Kai's a little more open, but Kaimuki and
Yeah.
Kahala is really tough to find a good office space right now.
So with the building there in Wailea that used to be, they did all the improvements. I heard rumors, is Pick and the Lady going to be taking a space up there?
They are, yes. They took the
Oh, wow.
ground floor space.
Yep.
And luckily, yeah, they've actually made that public now, because I wasn't supposed to say anything about it, and it killed me like when I was touring people. But yes, and I heard they're supposed to open in August, though. I don't know if that's
Oh,
still on
exciting.
track, but yeah, and I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be an expansion, but it sounds like they're actually going to vacate Chinatown and fully move there,
Okay.
which I'm pretty excited about as someone who lives in the neighborhood.
That's very exciting. Well, I
Yeah.
know you helped, when I sold my building, you're so helpful finding a space. And I'm finding now there is so many other businesses now, moving into the building we're in. It's like it's thriving, and all these small boutique companies, very varied, lots of different businesses in our building right now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And one of your old tenants is probably moving in next door to you, Conservation International. We're
Oh,
just finalizing something. Yeah, so yeah, between your building selling and that group, they're keeping it for their own use. So all those tenants have had to disperse. And
oh, wow.
Kaimaki is just like a popular area. There were, a year ago, there were a good amount of vacancies that you could kind of choose from. And now I have clients looking there, and it's so hard to find anything, of really any size in Kaimuki right now. And then the other markets, Leeward, Oahu still remains fairly, I would still say it's fairly tight for good office space. Our actual vacancy rate is 17%, but there is a lot of stuff that is just like not functional or really old and junk. The like quality office space in Pearl City, IAEA, it comes with a premium and is kind of hard to find.
So I don't know if you do a lot out in Kapolei area. What's going on out there with, office space.
Yeah, a little bit. There's more vacancy than there has been, but Kapolei is another one that's very limited. I mean, there's a couple buildings like Campbell Square, and usually they've been historically almost fully leased, but they have had some space come back. And then Bank of Hawaii has a building out there, but they're pretty particular on who they lease to. So while they have some space available, they're fairly particular on not having someone with a lot of visitors that's going to disturb them, because they have a bunch of their operations there. And then aside from those, there's just really like a smattering of, some second floor office spaces at retail centers, and some of it doesn't have an elevator and stuff. So there is a little bit more opportunity out in Kapolei right now. But it's a really small market up there with only a couple main buildings that you're going to be looking at if you're looking for
Yeah.
office. But they're incredible. Campbell Square is an amazing property. Really, really
Nice.
nice. Kind of like class A for that market office.
Beautiful. Well, is it anything else you'd like to share with us before we leave today?
The last tidbit I wanted to leave on, I'm still sharing this here, is our operating expenses. This is kind of our big hindrance in the office market. That one of them these days is operating expenses just continue to go up, as you're seeing, everything's getting more expensive, and it's just
Yeah.
not something we see trending downward. Insurance rates, electricity rates, all of these things, in minimum wage, everything's going up. And it's,
Yeah.
causing a little bit of trouble for I should say a lot of trouble for landlords, because as those go up, you know, you can't grow your base rents. If anything, maybe you have to shrink them or try to hold them the same. But, you know, construction costs are going up. So office tenants expect, you know, tenant improvement allowances to help rehab spaces. You know, nobody, if you're an office tenant, you're not expecting to do that on your own. Whereas like a lot of retailers are coming in and building out spaces and paying for that themselves, or getting a very small amount. So that's one of the big headwinds, is like making things pencil when you need to move a large tenant and the build out is $150 a square foot.
Yeah.
And you know, the landlords contribute a huge amount. And so the deals are getting really skinny for landlords. I'm not sure what the answer to that is in the future, but that's definitely one of our headwinds. But that's kind of my last tidbit to share.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for that. And we'll end this morning, as we always do, with Marianne's photos. And she talks about flowers and plants brighten the inside and outside of homes. And again, you know, Doug's the big plant person in our family. And of course, outside, the eye capturing red flowers and an interest to any space. They're beautiful. And moving on to the hibiscus, always gorgeous, the colors, and the next is the colorful landscape border, which is stunning. We actually used a lot of these in our landscaping in our own home. They're absolutely gorgeous, provides a lot of color, and I believe low maintenance. So we're trying to find those low maintenance plants for the outside too. And then, of course, the wonderful, colorful bougainville, which is always stunning, absolutely stunning. But Alex, thanks for being with us today. It was such a delight. And, you know, I'm running around with the residential world, and I hear snippets all the time what's going on. So you made me focus. So, okay, I know what's going on now. And you confirmed a few things. And it's just the same with residential. It's someone will say, "Oh, you're busy." And I said, "Yes." And it's strong. I think, you know, we go back to being on an island, supply and demand, right? You know,
Yeah, exactly.
we don't have the supply and the demand's still there. And I was listening to a news article just this morning saying that, you know, they do expect interest rates to go down in September, maybe 2 or 3 reductions in interest rates, and how maybe it's best to get in and buy now, because once those rates start to go down, it's going to be back to that competitiveness, you know, paying way more for a house. I mean, you could always refinance. So it's really keeping your thumb on the market right now. And if you find the right rental lease, you know, just do it like we did. It was wonderful. We love our small space.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
We love where we are. Thank you so much. But on that note, thank you, and we'll catch up later. Much
Thank
mahalo.
you. Thanks for having
Okay.
me.
Okay.